attending the party's KwaZulu-Natal Provincial General Council in Empangeni to ensure that when they are electing leadership, they strictly follow the ANC's guidelines as set out in the document entitled Through the Eye of the Needle. The president officially opened the three-day conference last night. So we now cross to our reporter Ayanda Mhlongo, who is at the Provincial General Council in Empangeni, and she is standing by with a guest. Ayanda, very good afternoon to you. Could you give us the latest on the General Council as it is underway in KZN?
Perla, very good afternoon to you, and we're coming to you live from Empangeni, where indeed, as you said, ANC members from across the province of KwaZulu-Natal, over just 1,000 branch members have converged here at the University of Zululand for the party's Provincial General Council. A very important gathering for the ANC, said to be, they've dubbed it as their biggest political school, where the party will get to reflect on the past years since the new leadership of the party took the reins of leading the province of KwaZulu-Natal, but also, of course, as you know, that the ANC, or the members of the ANC across South Africa, are preparing for the 54th National Conference, which will be taking place in Johannesburg next week. Now, you spoke about President Jacob Zuma yesterday, importantly opening this conference, where he had a very important message for the ANC, particularly speaking about the challenges that the ANC has been faced with currently, but also now speaking on the matter of leadership. And as you read there correctly in that introduction, Pearl, where he spoke about the what the delegates needing to do, and urging delegates to ensure that they follow the guidelines set out in that very important book, a document rather, entitled Through the Eye of the Needle. Now, today the program was a bit delayed yesterday with the president. Of course, he was in Swaziland, so arriving at the conference late, and as a result then it did so push back some of the programs which were supposed to have taken place yesterday in the reports. But today what is important is that the leadership of the ANC will be giving their reports this morning, and which was a closed session for the media. However, after lunch, we're expecting the delegates will then break into commissions. Will they then start to go and engage on some of the key proposals, the critical matters that the delegates are here to discuss under the ANC's policy documents, and that is ahead of that conference. But just to speak about yesterday, of course, just to recap, and also what is expected today, I'm joined by the spokesperson of the ANC, Mtumseni Ntuli. Mtumseni, thank you very much for your time. A very important conference, as you said, for the ANC in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. More importantly, yesterday, President Jacob Zuma opening it, and he had a message, a very strong and important message for the delegates who are here who've attended this conference.
Well, definitely, Ayanda, this is a very profoundly important Provincial General Council of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. Of course, for two reasons. The first reason is that this is the first Provincial General Council which assesses the term of office of the current Provincial Executive Committee, since we are now halfway towards the end of our term of office. But secondly, it is taking place on the eve of a very extensive preparation towards the National Policy Conference of the ANC, where the movement as a whole is reflecting on the trajectory we've travelled over the past 5 years, but also looking beyond that. But we're also examining and critically reflecting on the current environment. Where are we? How did we find ourselves to the space to where we are, both politically in terms of analyzing the balance of forces in our country and globally, but also looking at what we call subjective weaknesses. How has government and governance in general impacted on the character and the quality of leadership of the African National Congress, which is what President Zuma was explaining yesterday. He was very clear about the importance of ensuring that at all material given time, we comply to that historic and important document of the organization, which is saying you must choose only the best amongst available to lead not only the movement but social transformation.
The challenges that the ANC, the president, are not shying away from them, indeed saying that they are, and yourselves as the ANC, even in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, have spoken about the current crises that the party is experiencing, factionalism, gatekeeping, alleged manipulation of membership, or some of the issues that are said to have been raised by the branches. And you're saying that it's going to be very important that a province like KwaZulu-Natal, seen as a kingmaker, which is very influential going to the national conference, that it too needs to come out of this conference united.
Very, very important. You see, the fundamental question is that the ANC does not lead its own membership. We're leading a revolution, we're leading the South African people. The rest of the continent also expects that the leadership role of the ANC will strengthen the African agenda in our continent. So weaknesses that may be inflicting in the African National Congress, the internal challenges that confronts the ANC, have a profound impact on the pace of transformation in our country, on the struggle to build an independent continent of Africa, both in terms of political and economical. Now, as a province, we've made an undertaking. We're very clear from the opening address of the chairperson of the province. We are not going to be involved in an agenda that has a potential to bring about the demise of the African National Congress. We are not going to accept that we must be part to an agenda that is going to produce a leadership which is driven and informed by what has been defined as the slate politics. We want to make a contribution to this national policy conference, both in terms of the agenda of the movement, the policy orientation, the priorities over the next 5 years going forward. But equally, at the end of the year, we are committed to ensure that our own role as KwaZulu-Natal is that of making a decisive contribution in the unit of the movement.
Today, the delegates will then break into commissions and engage now in over the 9 policy matters that are very critical as well to the ANC. Speak to us on some of the key, what is the province of KwaZulu-Natal, what you see are the key points. I know yesterday the chairperson in his address, he spoke on the issue of land. The theme is advancing socio-economic transformation, which has been very important, as you're saying, to the ANC moving forward. But what are going to be the key proposals that the ANC is likely to discuss in these commissions?
Look, the first thing that we're going to reflect on, of course, is the state of the organization. How do we strengthen the movement to ensure that it remains not only the hope of our people, but a vehicle capable to advance the national democratic revolution? Part of the discussions that are going on at a level of how we must reconfigure the National Executive Committee and all other layers of the organization is a possibility to support the call for 2 deputy secretary generals, which in our view is a cutting-edge intervention to ensure that you are going to have a senior leader of the ANC responsible for building the organization and ensuring that it has sustainable campaigns, which will ensure that there's a permanent and a dynamic contact between the movement and the masses of our people. Firstly, that's what you need to have a strong organization, because we have a view that we must move fast in terms of implementing radical economic transformation. Redistribution of land without compensation, free education is part of the key issues that we're raising in. But our view is that if you do not have a strong vehicle in a form of a very strong, united liberation movement, all of those aspirations and ideals will not be realized. That is why we're saying in everything that we will do this time around, we have to get it right in terms of ensuring that we have a very strong and cohesive organization which is going to mobilize our people behind the agenda of social transformation.
Thank you very much for your time. Dumsentuli, the spokesperson for the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, of course, outlining the importance of this conference for the ANC and its members. And of course, today, the ANC members or the delegates who have attended this conference will be breaking into commissions, and they're expected to engage on some very critical matters or issues pertaining to the party. Later on this afternoon, we are expecting to get report backs from those commissions. The conference is a 3-day conference, and it comes to an end tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to leave it there for now, Pearl, and take things back to you in Johannesburg.
And that was Ayanda Mhlongo from KwaZulu-Natal. She's attending the Provincial General Council taking place in Empangeni in the northern part of the province.